You know, that promo is from HRX, and it's pretty funny. It has our favorite moments, but I just can't stop laughing at that moment that Fasheko is looking to Thiel and saying, hey, man, are we actually getting our butts whooped on stage 4-0 by Na'Vi right now? And Thiel's like, I don't really have an answer for you right now, man. And unfortunately for Thiel fans out there, it doesn't look like he'll be doing that for Fnatic this time around, but I mean, if you are a Na'Vi fan, you might be happy that Fnatic may not even be there qualifying for you in the guaranteed placements at HRX because they just took 2 map losses to Mouse. That'll be a big deal, but let's see how NIP can respond because it really is all about if NIP can now 3-0 or at least 4-1.
And that's where my questions are falling in. Is this going to be the same Mouse that we just saw? Are they going to be able to come in and have that kind of performance up against NIP? Well, they're going to go back to Stone Keep where they just lost the last set. So whether or not that's going to be beneficial for them or a detriment is really where, I mean, my eyes fall. They had some phenomenal drafts throughout that last set, but I just don't see Mouse letting things like that slip through again.
It's an interesting time. And, I mean, what a time for Fnatic to make the change. What a time for Mouse to kind of step up in that way. I would really like some of the performances I saw them have. Sephi Cloud Bees, I mean, Bolka as well across the board looking really, really good. But on the side of NIP, a team that to me has found the rhythm, whereas Fnatic have sort of lost it. I think Mousesports will be up against a tougher opponent, a more clinical opponent here. I am very, very interested to see how these kind of swaps from Mouse and Koa now playing against his former team will turn out.
Well, we've seen Inara come to the top every single time. But Fury, I think, and I actually saw Vox mentioning this on Twitter, was part of the reason Mouse were so incredibly strong. Drogo's on Andrew Doodle, again, on this map as well, is going to be a phenomenal combination to have. So Mouse, I think, already starting off this draft incredibly strong.
Yeah, Fury Drogos does put them out of the league in terms of the frontline conversation, however, and so this is potentially a problem. We know that NIP are no strangers to the Talus. Bonker has been willing to play it quite a bit. They've got people willing to do the dirty work there in terms of the Torvald, keeping them nice and healthy. And Mousesports, maybe anticipating that. Take the Talus away right here, 3rd, which is an unusually high spot. Probably would see him go 2 more draft rotations back at a 5th pick for Mouse here. But it's the Genos that NIP will be uncovering. And I could smell an Androxus, the dynamic damage amp composition.
This is one of the deadlier kind of combinations. I still personally, I think, prefer Mouse's because it doesn't rely as much on the combinations, right? Whereas on the side of NIP, it's going to be easy to apply, at least the Luminary. It's going to be relatively easy to apply the shield, but you're looking at Leon and Androxus to have phenomenal games in order to make sure this works out.
I mean, this just looks real easy. I mean, you got Prudo or you got Bonker on Leon or Andro. Yeah. They can do whatever they want. You've got Sheepa easily transitioning into the Torvald. Koa doing the Inari. He's been doing that since day one. Who do you think is going to win this? My money's on NIP. I think this will be a much tougher set for Mousesports to find a foothold in. And I think NIP, now knowing Fnatic have slipped, want to take advantage of that momentary lapse in execution to move ahead in the standings here once and for all and secure their spot to HRX.
So much that can go right with the kind of draft the Mouse was able to get. So much that can go wrong when you're having to look down the line. And you'll be seeing Diggy Dog on the Androxus with a double boost coming into him. Plus a little bit of health on the side coming from that shield. So there's a lot in terms of dive ability and just dead ability, kill ability. I don't know. He's going to kill a lot. That's the point.
Yeah. And Diggy Dog, who I, for some reason, called Prudo. I've got to get out of the habit of saying that. CNIP, I think, Sheepa, Prudo, and Bird. Which is a strange little combination for me, since they weren't on the same team, but it's just that thing that I do. But as you guys, along with myself, consider NIP to be the favorites, that is an 83% opportunity to, well, I guess still be right or wrong, but that's how you feel. The confidence is with the Ninjas. 51% and counting on the objective thus far, though. And Diggy Dog gets to really get going, but gets the Torvald bubble, gets out. It's really about buying time before Andro can do his thing.
As long as they can set up some pressure, Diggy Dog is going to be safe. He always falls down to where Crunchy is, and that's going to be kind of the combo that you're looking for. Crunchy, bubbles, Diggy Dog. Diggy Dog then can get aggressive to wherever he wants to go. Mouse are really able to hold over there in kind of the gatehouse where everything is, but The point so far has gone in favor of NIP. 66% picked up for them. A lot of control over here on the right-hand side. And if Digidog can get a kill right here, it's going to swing right back in favor of NIP.
Good damage here from Crunchy as well. Not what you count on for the Torval, but really helps every little bit of it. Koa with the wall goes up. 90%, 93. Somebody's got to drop down. Mousesports now feeling the pressure. Alex goes in. Runner travels back to Digidog, finds him. First blood takes about 2 minutes, but the double kills and the kills afterwards start flowing like a waterfall. 4 in a row, and that's the 5th one as well. Sephi Cloud taking one back to the base with him in Bonker, but it's all NIP to start out.
I mean, if I'm Bonker, I'm like, man, cool. Now I'm going to spend those 300 credits, see what I can buy in the store that I was sent back to.
That's right.
It is an awkward moment to have to die right there, but it's honestly probably one of the best moments because you get to just come back, full heal, reset onto the point that's already a payload. You can push, and so you get full confidence back in yourself. 99%, 100 now for that Enlightenment, plus an Accursed Arm. And honestly, with the way things are going, even though it took a while to start getting the kills, it was clean from NIP.
And you do let those ultimates sometimes be a factor. And there are some good ultimates on the side of Mousesports, but it was just before that moment. Usually about the 2-minute, 30-second mark is when we see those ultimates start to become a part of the conversation in round 1. Minute and 40 seconds now as the game continues. Bubbled up Crunchy, doing a good job of just keeping an eye on Digidog wherever he is, letting him really not out of his sights. Finds the damage when a bubble was available. Maybe went to the wrong member, kept it on Bonker, but Digidog does fall, and I think they're just willing to reset here. Andrew Doodle found enough damage, and Alex had enough pressure to force NIP back.
The way Mouse get that, I disagree with, because they pop the Inflame just to get a defense. And that's where my issue lies. Is they pop this Inflame to try and hold back NIP. NIP still have a minute to work with, and you just use probably one of your best ults, at least in terms of being able to hold on to it. You might be able to make a better defense without it. You should be able to charge it back, no problem, so it's not an issue to really throw it out there, but it honestly feels like they're relying so much on just that extra damage to give them the great equalizer against an IP.
Yeah, and it goes both ways, right? I mean, if you're willing to use it here so early, and also maybe doing it so there aren't really any threats on the board before you're able to charge it back up again and be able to use it again when it really counts. Either way, you're stabilizing, and maybe that's the most important thing to Mousesports here. However, should be keeping Andrew Doodle alive. Bonker and Digidog attack at the same time, and now Bonker finds a double kill up into the air. Bees, he's gonna die. Crunchy cleans up Ash before she can fall, vaulting up and then nowhere to be seen afterwards. Need to file a missing persons. I guess what? Complaint? That's not complaint. When do you file for that? Claim.
I don't know.
Claim. Claim, baby.
Please, someone claim this person.
We're firing on all cylinders right now.
Well, at least an IP is.
Or
the way things are going.
so
Mouse was last game, or last set at least, for some of those games, but not so much here. 5 kills that came through clean that we got to see from Androx's perspective, and then everything after that was just a pickup. There was one big wipe when you pop it in flame from Mouse, and admittedly, even then, a lot of the kills didn't quite go your way. Some of it was only awarded because NIP decided to jump off the map and hit the reset.
Take a look at Digidog's loadout here. I wonder if he's rocking the Abyssal Touch. And it is. I think this is really where players have seen is the tremendous amount of value. It was initially inserted, and Androx's just with the punch change was a very big part of the conversation. Bird already with a big kill on Andrew Doodle to start things off, though. And now Abyssal Touch, something they've been working on and getting better and better. I've seen pros across the pond, North America, EU, now even OCE representatives who happen to be living in Sweden making use of it. And it just gives him so much dang mobility. He's going to slide to the left. Oh! And it's a beautiful bubble with the Wind Dancer to try to get him into view. The Immortal is used from Fernando. And here's a punch as well. Not enough to take down the inner strength of the Skadrin, but Bonker able to clean up Sephi Cloud in the process. And Alex looks dead to rights here as well.
Trying to fight as best he can, but Leon is just going to be perfect in that kind of scenario. Locked in the corner, but you're really locked in the room with her. She kills you off. Koa and Crunchy put their names on the board as well, and pretty much everyone on NIP, like I said earlier, are looking comfortable. They're feeling calm. Whether or not they happen to know what just happened to Fnatic is going to be the question, because they don't seem anywhere near enticed to let Mouse do it. But this is very similar to how the last set started as well.
Yes, and I think NIP here, though, to me, have a different tone about this. There's a lot more of this, I don't know, this respect, this willingness to fall back, and Inflame, we'll see it, we'll all back up, it's okay, we're not going to risk things. we got it. I feel confident in that. And now we can move forward, strategically giving them their best. And that's something that Bird and the rest of these guys have been known for, stratagem. You know, whether it's quadra tanks, whether it's, you know, trying to figure out little ways to put you off in the draft so they can have an advantage. So far, it has worked, and they've seemed to be really successful here in their at least debut map. And Diggy Dog, when you hit headshots on Heads Will Roll and Droxus, things usually work out for you.
Diggy Dog and Bonker have been bailing each other out of these like almost death scenarios, things that would absolutely ruin their fight against Mouse, or at least stall it for a little bit. Being able to kind of tag team, double down on the damage, and make sure that no one on the side of Mouse is able to withstand it.
Man, Crunchy's doing a great job of adding damage on Torvald. I mean, obviously a bubble bot you would consider, and not a lot of room to outplay, but he's really, really contributing to a lot of these targets' health, just getting from that 75% to maybe that 40% health range, and allowing Bonker and Diggy Dog to move in. And you can see forcing NTB's shield. Bonker on the left side is going to slide back. Crunchy will fall. And Sephi Cloud with a fireball on the brand new Nightmare Fernando skin in 1.6. Sephi Cloud with a very loud emote, so they actually know he is doing that. I'm just not sure if they're willing to take the risk and push that corner.
And it's one of those moments that one is purely for vision inside that room, not at all because Mousesports think they're winning. Because I know Sephi Cloud at this point has been feeling the brunt of the damage from Bonker.
Yeah.
A lot of that is just trying to hold on to this left-hand portion of the courtyard, try to keep it going. But that's going to be a long-range seismic crash. Still finds 2, but no big follow-up damage, so no big kills just yet.
Did you miss the 8-foot-tall woman sneaking into your back line? I mean, do you need a Nest camera? Do you need an updated security system? I don't know what's wrong, but Stone Keep felt like it was kind of wide open. Would have been able to see her coming from a mile away. Apparently, Mousesports is left out of the loop. And NIP looking to ninja their way into a victory here in game number 1. The Inflame is popped to try and hold on.
I'm kind of curious as to how long it took Bees to realize there was an Ara standing behind him. He was looking the other way for the longest time. A lot of control coming through. Koa still alive, still pressuring, and Bees is getting low. Bees is about to die.
Oh, yeah, and that's Solar Blessing just on cooldown, unfortunately. I was super surprised that they did not focus on the Fury, but maybe because this game is only 8 minutes long, they know that she doesn't have Chronos 3. They know those few seconds are not actually going to be up, and they have a window of opportunity to slay these front lines. The Inara stood strong, and guess what? Andrew Noodles Combustible says, see you later. Game over. We're going to defend right here. Good look at the early round of Bird. Clips the tail, truly, of Drogos.
There's been a few times, especially at that angle, that a Genos is able to just blow people out of the water.
Yeah.
I think Swindy posted a clip the other day of a pentakill right through there.
A
it was
penta?
very lucky that every single person was running DPS. They were all damageable just inside that 2400 threshold, but that is
what are the chances?
Spot to get the kill.
Was that like 5 damage dealers that he was playing against?
It was.
Even some damage dealers can get over that. So that, I mean,
it was impressive.
The circumstances for that to be successful is very hard. But Bird, is he going to try it again? Oh, is he going to? And if he caught him going this way, I mean, there's even less room to wiggle around here. Look at this, man. Oh, he's got 19%. Sometimes, as a caster, it's good to look at the ultimate charge, I think. Crunchy getting high in terms of the involvement, but low in terms of the health bar. 51% and counting still. Koa on the objective fighting away, and NIP have got their 50%. They're content with just backing off.
And that pretty much equalizes the playing field, right? They got 50% before Mouse got 0, and that means even with comeback mechanic, it's about the same distance to 100 that you're going to have to fight. So NIP are going to be able to look at this as kind of an accelerated round more than anything. Worrying about Mouse now passing them. A couple of good knockbacks will give you a lot of room on this point. Bees specifically is going to be able to control it as much as he can. But you lose your Drogos, you're starting to lose a little bit more. There's the accursed arm pop, and it's going to be able to find 1 and 2 of the front lines there for Mouse.
Bolka puts some meaningful damage onto Androxus as he's rounding the corner. Diggy Dog with the pilot job there for the flanker, but it's not enough. 90% and counting. Mousesports have to get back to the objective. It's Dragon Punch. It's going to clear him away, but to no avail. Diggy Dog will just find him there. NTBs has to jump up, but he's not going to get the chance. Beautiful stun there. And although the Rampage ends with Bolka again, impressive play on the Furia, I think this is going to be NIP. Unless they can not handle the Solar Blessing, going to be taking this one.
Trying to do whatever you can. Sephi Cloud
really
looking to just kind of spread
really
the damage wherever he can. Not going to apply too much. Maybe some cauterize here and there, but not enough.
Really min-maxing that Flame Lance. I loved it. I'm
going to hit everyone whether it kills me or not.
He's just eliminations all the board. He's got kill to heal 3. We didn't look at the items. Just like everyone who dies, I'm healing back to full. You know what? Would be an interesting idea, but that way it goes to NIP. Great start for them, and I think pretty concise victory. Doesn't take too long. It takes about 10 minutes or so, and now map 2 on the way. NIP looking to definitely take advantage of the earlier set, where if you're just joining us now, Fnatic went 5 games with this exact Mousesports team. Really allowed Mousesports to take Game 2 and Game 3, really put them in the driver's seat and have to crawl and claw their way back to even get the victory today.
If they can keep that kind of control, right, that level of quality where it's just like, we're going to respect Mousesports, we know what you can do, we're not going to get too aggressive, and I feel like that's where Fnatic kind of fell apart, then I don't see Mouse being able to make a huge comeback. Of course, being able to go towards maps, maybe they're feeling a little bit more comfortable whether or not they win this next one. At least if they lose it for map 3, they will get a pick guaranteed to go somewhere to try and take down NIP. But it's not looking like it's going to be easy, especially if they can run a draft like that, which admittedly I feel like they give up a lot of strengths to the other side and still just make you look like you don't have anything.
Digidar and then Androxus was really the key to victory, and he certainly provided the answers, that's for sure. He unlocked the door, and several others. Headshots galore, double kills, triple kills. And I think he just was in the right spot at the right time, played it patiently too. This move from OCE was a risk for sure. They dropped Simzy, who was performing well. No one can really doubt that. But Digidog was an investment they felt, and one that Bird felt very strongly about. Those two have been improving together and improving this NIP roster with additions of Koa, things like that for the entirety of this split. Volk has really been a nice touch, I think, for Mousesports as well. I've actually liked some of his performances today. I don't know if it's enough, but they're definitely getting some consistent support play in their backline.
I'm kind of wondering, with this change, I mean, adding in Digidog, the fact that things have been going well for them, if this is something other teams are going to start looking at. I mean, a lot of these international players are big. Hakate comes to mind when I think of people who you might want to be able to bring through. And
well, they've thought about that
you've
all the
already
time.
kind of stepped that up.
North American
Maybe
team,
go for it.
why don't you bring over all of, free agent boys, which were Nocturnes. I mean, these are things we've thrown around. No one's been doing it, but the NIP and Bird really the only team that did that, and they brought somebody cross-region to be involved. This is NIP's map pick now, so I believe that was Mousesports. So that doesn't bode well. Frozen Guard, we haven't seen this one in quite a while. Ice Mine's usually the one that we're taken to or just banned straight away because people don't want to play on it or people think they've got a hokey doke to get around a good team. But Khan here banned, it seems like all straight away as far as this phase, but the Inara taken now for Mouse.
Front lines are the bans. I'm assuming we might see one more depending on how well Torvald did. No, the Drogos coming through, which admittedly I like overall. It's something you don't want to really give up. Although this isn't necessarily the map he's known for. I think he's just solid on pretty much any map you give him.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people will scratch their heads and say, Frozen Guard, Drogos. No. I don't feel that way. I'm not in that camp. I think he can succeed. I think Blasters can succeed. I mean, especially when you look at Bomb King, right?
Yeah.
This is actually a very good map for him. But because you play the ceiling, you play the air, it's very constricted. Not the way Ascension Peak is, although that is a constricted room, but it's just you're exposed, and then you can't really fly up in that point as well. So there's not a lot of room for him to hide and do that combustible game where he is not at danger, at risk of being hit by things like Just Breathe or big game Cassies or Kinesis or even Ruckus.
Ruckus being able to get locked in again, and I feel like he is such a polarizing effect because he can have phenomenal games. He can win a game for you. I mean, we even saw Cephacloud earlier get a quadra kill, but still end up losing the round, not being able to defend it. And that, I think, is just kind of the way Mouse always feel, right? You get to the wall, you're able to knock down someone, you get a quadra kill, you still lose the round. So you really need to find the way to convert that into pressure. Willow, Cassie, I think, are good at doing that, but I'm not sure how I feel about the Barrack. Maldamba behind him will help him out, but you're up against an Ashe who's just going to bully you the entire time.
And the other thing to note, too, is that Frozen Guard is one of the only points that kind of angles really upward, right? It's a point where the slope actually leads to the highest point on the map, which is the objective, and kind of leads down to the push. Ice Mine's very similar to that as well.
Yeah.
But on Ice Mines, there's a safe place to stay and fight. Blasters like Willow really only have that right side to be safe and look down and start firing, and that's really where they excel. Who do you think is going to excel, though, Mixer? I think that it's going to be NIP here. Bonker, very familiar with the Talus.
Yes.
Digidog can play it as well. They both work really well on either that or the Leon. Bird has been a champion of this Life Exchange Ying since she was changed in the, I believe, 1.4 balance patch. Can't believe we've gone that far.
1.6 now.
1.6. Technically not because, well, maybe are they? I guess they are playing on it.
Yep.
But, you know, Dredge is obviously banned.
Well, with the way things are going, and items actually, Bonker, I didn't even have to say it, goes for Wrecker. His target is none other than Cephacloud, but he's going to help him out against bees as well. It's going to make it very difficult for those front lines to try and fight the way they want to on this map. So they're going to have to look at a lot of flank control. Cassie's good at flank control, so can Willow be, but it is not exactly the best, I think, against a Talus.
Oh, it's going to be tough, but he's running the trick-or-treat Talus. And I have a feeling he wants a trick. And he maybe has one prepared for Mousesports here. You could say that qualifying over Fnatic would be a treat. So far, looking to get some headshots. He's just buying a lot of time and really waits till the end. He might have a lot of health going on, I believe, in a card. If I'm not mistaken, it's called Revitalize. We'll check that out a little later because Bees finds Bonker in the process. A little bit of a shaky start for both teams. A little bit of a scramble here. One of the newest areas of Frozen Guard to get kind of adjusted in the Paladins map cleanups. And oh boy, NTBs, Nick and I earlier said the the smallest knockback that mattered in Paladins, but I think that might be a contender for it.
You know, we've been looking at Ashe, especially in the past, with the way things have been going, as kind of, again, like a knockback machine in my eyes. That's where I honestly see her. Big CC and a lot of control, a lot of ability to bully people because of the damage output she can have. It's not a lot of numbers, but she fires fast, 8 rounds in the clip, and it is explosive. It gives some splash damage. But now a little bit more damage on her right click, that kinetic burst as well. Plus, if people are running it, you get the increased knockback in your cards. You can just knock around someone like an Inara, someone like a Barrack, like it's nothing.
And let's take a look at the way Koa is using his loadout. Because we see this Fortress Breaker come to the forefront with Ramparts and with Siege Engine. Now, one of the changes that was a sweeping change in Paladins was cards like Siege Engine, where you would get this like effect based on hitting kind of multiple champions or doing these things. The language was adjusted so that you basically get a flat number for doing a flat thing. It's a lot more, I think, easier for players to grasp. And as a result of it, you get 6 seconds off if you basically just have Ramparts, obviously, and then you have your Siege Engine hit anybody, hit anything. Any enemy, you get your 4 seconds. And that really makes that card an extremely valuable card for Koa and a Fortress Breaker Ashe to just be able to have that shield up nearly most of the time.
Koa going to get locked in the corner, but right now NIP is favored to win overall, and that's a beautiful assert dominance onto the high ground. Going to start raining hell from above with this Ashe, and all you need is a little bit of healing, and you will be right back ready to get into this fight, but you're losing 3 members on NIP.
And it's an interesting one. I like that Koa decides to go for it. You don't have a lot of chances to do that on Frozen Guard, so I think it does make sense for them to at least give it the old college try. But to no avail, and they will have to go home empty-handed. Mousesports with a decent defense here. NTB setting up a turret, trying to poke from long range. 168 damage. That Tinker and Fall Off sure does make Barrack's presence a bit minuscule unless he's up in your face. Bonker already in a good spot as well, over on the left-hand side.
Set up real good for NIP. 30 seconds left, and they're already right around where the payload needs to be. But this arch is just so difficult to break through, especially when you take that much damage just trying to get out into the open to get to cover once again. Mouse being able to play their defense well, and this is something that Frozen Guard has always been adept at. This base is very, very hard to break through. But NIP chose here, so I expect them to know a way to do it.
And that's the thing, they have Koa and Cruncy. These are not typically great, just I'll take any amount of damage you throw at me tanks. There's no Inara, no Terminus here that just walk at you and do not die. They've got to kind of get in their spot. They've got to force you back with the right amount of pressure, the right amount of support from their damage dealers, and right now they've got the overtime. Koa is alive and healthy. Andrew Doodle on the defense for Mouse has his Faith Flight available, and this time it's all going to be Cruncy pushing him back. He finds the kill on the Alex. Andrew Doodle has to come and save the day, but the Dome Shield from Bees is a day late and a dollar short. Bonker finds the kill. It's a knockback. Kinetic Burst in full action. That shield will be coming up in 5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, but no need. It's a push from NIP. 2-0 in game 2.
And I like the fact that when you knock off Andrew Doodle there, it's not just pushing him away. He falls behind a wall, so he loses line of sight onto the payload. It allows anyone on NIP at that point to turn their attention towards the Ruckus, the Moldamba that are causing them a lot of trouble immediately. But it also kind of pushes Andrew Doodle in with the Sharks. There's nowhere for you to go. I don't know when his flutter was, when he had the cooldown up, but there's no way you're getting back up to the top line, especially with that amount of health. Feel comfortable. I think Bird is the one who ends up picking up that kill. So even though damage numbers, honestly, are really favoring Mouse overall, you're seeing what Diggy Dog, what Bonker can accomplish with this kind of dive-in. Torvald being used very appropriately here from NIP.
When you get surprised as a human being, it's very hard to do anywhere close to the amount of potential, fight back or response that you would have if you were prepared and ready for the engagement. Right now, it feels like just NIP caught Mousesports on the back foot, and they had nowhere near the type of control or consistency that we've seen throughout their performances today. Really good Dread Serpent as well. Bolka, again, a great decision, just finishes off Koa. Now that gives NTV's room to move on to the objective. It forces pretty much all of NIP back, and they have 23% counting on the objective.
You have comeback mechanic as well, so it's going to be able to capture a lot faster. It's going to force NIP to use their hand, and there's the Illusory Rift. You get rid of Bonker, but Diggy Dog is looking for kills. He's out for blood. The question is whether or not he can find the angle. You see Koa go flying across the point, but it doesn't matter because they've finally been able to come in and set up.
And the problem here is that Bird is still alive, and people have not found any kills onto him. Dimensional Link just to buy some time, and look at this Diggy Dog. He comes back into the fray. Crunzy's still here, Bubbles, and Dimensional Links, clones, just all the healing that Yin can provide. And NIP, although they look like they're out for the count, really, really aren't.
And now dismounts is the game for NIP.
Oh,
it's not kills.
Yeah, no problem.
It's just knock them down, make sure they don't get there. 99% is big for Mouse, but if only one or two members can touch down on the point, 99% doesn't mean anything. 87 and rising here for NIP. And look at this control. This is the zone you want to have. This is the reason you would pick a Frozen Guard.
And that's why NIP are an incredibly tactical, smart team. Most of the teams in Europe will do this, but it's NIP talking and playing right now that I'm talking about. So they pull back as 4. They allow Koa to die. And they just say, that is it. That's cool. We will just fall back. And we have 4 members alive. You can't fully zone all those 4 members who don't retreat, don't siege you all that room. Once you commit as 5, like Mouse did, and then you lose the fight, then getting back is impossible. It's better to have 99% fall back and let the other team get to about 75, 85 and be able to actually contest versus to have 99% die and then be completely zoned to where there's no way you can even touch the point.
As of right now, though, you're seeing maybe a replication of the last round. Koa going down early. The rest of NIP looking to find some kills to avenge his death, though. 2 for 1. Once you get rid of Ruckus, once you get rid of Cassie, it makes it so easy to get into this base.
Another thing I just like about the Androxus, the Talus Torvald combinations is that Torvald damage is on the punches as well. And sometimes those blitz uppers are really nice burst, dislocation, but also when you have that 30% more damage, it really, really hurts into the back lines. And it's NIP going at 2-0 now against Mousesports. This means that Fnatic, man, they're very close to going basically 2 maps down as far as the second place run against NIP if NIP just win one more game.
And now it comes out. The reverse sweep. Mouse is able to pick it up, find a win for the first time.
Unbelievable! Who would have thought?
Is not looking too fantastic for them. You can look at their damage numbers, not able to top
a way to say it.
Too much from them. Bird, notably, Ying always does low numbers, but was still able to keep up with Moldamba, who normally is able to output a lot. But I mean, 0-5 on 2 members, 5-4 for Bees. He was doing great, but unfortunately just didn't have quite the support that you need to be able to find success.
I mean, Life Exchange Ying really can keep up. I've seen some of the higher numbers.
You should almost
with
never hit
Ying.
left click.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
You should only be hitting
That's
Q
not the
and
right play. That's not the right way to play it. But I think 2-0 and 14 is really the low number. We should talk about 0 deaths for the support on NIP.
Yes,
that's Bird. Serpent Beach here, map number 3, and in the EU PPL Fall Split Week 4. Here, where you're watching on live.skillshot or Mixer or wherever you are joining us, this could be it. This could round out today, and this could round out the 2 second-place teams fighting against the bottom team here. Mouse looking renewed with vigor in game in sets 1, but set 2, not quite off to the races yet.
The question I have is that Mouse necessarily looking worse, or is that NIP just being that much stronger than Fnatic right now?
Or is it Fnatic just looking that much
Or
weaker
yeah,
than
or
they
is
usually
Fnatic
have?
just doo-doo?
Yeah.
You never know.
Nick? Where are you?
Nick, yeah, I know. I channeled my inner Nick
spirit
for that
of
one.
Nick is here. I feel it above your head.
The extra foot
The extra foot.
was all channeled just to get one doo-doo out. Well, I guess now two.
Did you just say you used an extra foot to get your doo-doo out?
I guess, and in some weird way,
All
that
right.
is a good.
Well,
yep, that is a.
I mean, some people might say TMI. You know, we are on broadcast. It's all good. NIP here, grabbing Ying and Ruckus. Gore, what's going on? What do you want to say?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good segue back into the draft.
I love these moments where you just go silent and you kind of smile, and I can tell you're thinking you're going to say something, but then you think, no, I shouldn't say that. Let me
There
think
are
about
a
the
lot of
other
things
thing
that
I'm
I
gonna
should
say.
definitely not say that do cross my mind.
Well, I mean, listen, man. Let's see what Mixer has to say. How about that? We don't have to say anything. What do you guys think? Who is going to win this game? Will NIP close it out 3-0, or is Mousesports actually going to reverse sweep, like Gore said, and use their feet to get out the doo-doo?
Well, Drogo's Leon, Ruckus on one side. Barrack and Ying, I'm a little iffy on from NIP, but admittedly, Bird looked real good on it last time. And Barrack, on this map, again, I can forgive
They had
it. Kind
to
of
Kinessa
like
for us. They
Jaguar
had to.
Falls. They had to Kinessa. It was something we were talking about actually earlier. I said this is like the bane of Serpent Beach from Mouse, is that they always want Kinessa. They were good on it earlier because I think they didn't go Kinessa. So unless this is the best Kinessa game
You
that
know
I
what?
have seen
I'd love. You know what I'd
in a
love to
week.
see? I'd love to see them win this game. I'd love Alex to just.
He's going to go 20
just
and
go
0.
20-0, 25-0. And let's take a look at Andrew Doodle here and this Big Game Cassie. Clearly, Fortress Breaker and Big Game Cassie have been going through the ranks of EU and scrims and things like that. Territorial is the card. I like Somersault as well. There is a card that after, I believe when you, gosh, I really believe there is another card, and I think it's called Excitement. Nick and I were talking about that you can add to it, but it's not really fitting in if you're trying to go Kinetics 5. You still want the anti-heal. There's really no reason not to take it. You still get the damage, you still get the anti-heal, you get a little bit less on the burst of the blast shot, but it does the same job, especially if you also hit them with a disengage. It almost secures that they'll die even farther. Andrew Doodle has yet to really be able to take advantage of it here. 36% now for Mousesports. Trying to control this high ground. Dido and the salvo there. Look at Sephiol gets the heal, but first blood for Bunker onto Alex in the back line. We didn't even see that fight.
I mean, this was just full initiation, right? You lose one member, you lose Bonker in all of that, and that's because he gets aggressive. He's going up against Kinessa, like you said earlier. In this kind of matchup, there's 2 members left of Mouse, the rest respawning, trying to come back into this, and yes, you got 39% on the point. But look at where NIP, look at where Diggy Dog is on this Drogoz. Not only a signature champion, but a great map for him, and he's set up to just cause nothing but havoc for you.
I mean, Diggy is literally like doing such a good job of staying out of the line of sight of Alex. Or Alex is doing such a poor job of getting involved in this Drogoz, which he is such a good counter for on the Kinessa. Either way, something's got to give here. Otherwise, NIP are looking good to clean sweep this one. Bonker has been applying more pressure from range, I think. And now forces Alex into a heal and a transporter away. That is going to do it. And some sweet quick scoping, but no one's around. They're capturing the objective.
You know, I think from this point on, if you're Mouse and you go to Serpent Beach, you should just ban Kinessa.
Yourself.
I think you should ban it yourself. Just don't let yourselves play it. Because it hasn't made any difference. And maybe that's going to change throughout the rest of this. We're only 3 minutes into the game.
I'm
But,
a man of facts.
I mean, we were looking at, like, when we mentioned it on the pre-show, highlights from week 1.
Right.
That's when Kinessa looked okay on this map.
Yeah.
And okay is the only way I can describe it. It wasn't phenomenal. It wasn't
Right.
fantastic. It didn't blow me out of the water and hasn't sold me on the fact that every week since then, every single time they've been to Serpent Beach, I think except for last set,
Right.
they go for
Well,
Kinessa. And it's always the same performance.
And I mean, think about it, Gore. I don't recall the bans, but I don't think Talus was banned. And I mean, you look at the matchup that worked so well with the Talus last game, which was going against the Ruckus. I mean, I think he went against the Barrack too. I mean, you could grab the Talus here. And Alex has a lot more room to work with for Mousesports. He can play this mid-range, which Bonker has no problem doing. I mean, he is the mid-range god right here. He can slide in, be up in your face, stay mid-range, anti-heal the entire world and their mamas, and then go to the back line, find a presence, no fall-off damage, and enlightenment to stay alive and slide again. I mean, there's really no reason why Kinessa at this point in time has proven that she should be more prioritized if she's not going to absolutely dominate, and that's where you would look to be in the hands of a Rock Monkey, maybe a Bugsy here, where you've got those proven performances where a team says, oh, okay, it's Bugsy doing it, then it's okay.
It's a good shot right there.
And there you go.
And a good follow-up,
That's what
so
you
get
need.
rid of Bird. Actually, that's beautiful for their team, but unfortunately, they've lost a lot of space in the process of getting here. About 75% of the way there, 40 seconds left for an IP. And I'm looking... Where's Bonker? Right now, reset. Where's Drogo's? Right now, reset. They're trying to come in, and once you can deal with where Kinessa's applying pressure, which right here is probably the best spot on the map for her, then you can start pushing this payload again. But it's because this angle, specifically for Alex, is just so easy to hold and not really put yourself in danger that you're going to see it be a big primary focus.
And we also have to talk about the fact that Ruckus and Bonker here, there's the Enlightenment, see? She's staying alive. She starts to poke, loses the trade. Enlightenment tries to trade out and just gets around the corner. Now gets healed up, can go back at it again. Transfer to use from Kinessa, but look at this just crunchy Bonker pressure. I mean, the Rockets with no fall off. NTBs is getting low because they don't have anything to push away, distract. 4 members can shoot him now. And this is looking really rough for Sephi Cloud to hold. A nice fire spit there. The Solar Blessing again, just not doing enough with Death and Taxes Leon. And the Fall of the Scent Drogo's Combustibles hitting so consistently. That's it. 2-0.
Just the right timing, I think, on the dismount. I feel like Inara could have been just in the zone had that not come through. Plus maybe a little bit of pushback from the fire spit. But everything going right. And this was that first blood where Bonker... He doesn't even try to take it at range. He just gets right in Alex's face, and that's probably the worst thing for Kinessa. That's part of the reason that you'll see flanks against snipers, because they can't really do anything unless they find one really good quick shot or a quick scope, and even then, Strix is the only one who can really pull it off.
It's just, a lot of things going right for NIP, and they've looked good, man. Ever since, that Koa adjustment, Crunchy's come in, made an impact. Diggy, of course, and Bird have been working on their chemistry, their synergy, and it's proven to be a fruitful investment. And Bonker has stayed the MVP caliber player that he was back when he first entered the scene and won them that world championship and faded 2 years ago on Frog Isle with that Shaolin pick. Still waiting to see me some Shaolin.
I would even take Shaolin over this Kinessa.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. It's all about facts for me, baby. Show me the kill, show me the impact. I'm all about it. Show me no impact. Okay, try it again. Show me no impact, and now I think you got to make a change, or at least try something new. And that's where we have to say this looks towards a next season conversation. Headhunter popped, and wow, that's a counter killing. That's the prey killing the hunter right there. Beautiful fire spit from Diggy Dog.
And being able to consistently apply it like that, too, immediately finds 2 more right after the kill. Does give his life, but gives a lot of not only zone, but damage for his team to be able to set up. Ruckus Crunchy going to be coming back in right here. And Sepha Cloud, even though you have a big old shield, will not be difficult to burn through. You can see his health bar not really going up that much, even under that Solar Blessing.
And I think at this point, there's a lot of potential for I think NIP, man. It was one of my teams. I think I called them maybe making a run at Worlds. I really think I did in our first Esports Weekly. And them and G2, those are my teams, I think, that I said I would like to call. And I really believe that this is a team that has gotten only better. So I'm excited for how they improve here. I don't know if they have those same type of issues. They haven't been to a LAN together and had these horrible experiences, these traumas that the Fanatics have, where they're so good, but can they get over that? The mental game is going to be just as important as the actual mechanical one. But a minute and 40 seconds left here. Plenty of time for Mousesports to hold. It's just that time looks to be running out.
Scouts in the air, you can see where Bonker is, and do get the kill. That's going to be the big important, I think, piece of this. Although I guess it's not as important as the rest of the kills that are coming out. Mouse find one for pretty much 4 or 5 overall that end up dying in that engagement. Now you can see Crunchy getting aggressive, maybe too aggressive, but he's going for Alex, he's going for blood. They're trying to put the knife to the throat of Mouse.
That's all they need. I mean, Kinessa's already not in the fight, right? And so Crunchy forces him away, and now he's really not in the fight. He's actually not even shooting anyone, and it just opens up that zone. They all move back because there's nowhere else to go. You can't go forward. Then you isolate Kinessa even more. She's fought in her base half the time here on this defensive angle, and Alex now finally rotating to the left. Takes a risk, finds Bonker, but Bird is undying. No one's been able to get to the back line and take down the healer. Now Koa's getting a shot out before he goes and sees the beautiful lakes of Serpent Beach. You could see them too for only $4.99. And of course, tax.
See, I'm going to be 100%. With a name like Serpent Beach, I'm not going there. Because that is a beach covered in snakes.
That's about the real. That's real.
That's
the realest statement I've ever
would not go to a place called Jaguar Falls either, because both of those, when an animal is in the name of
Jaguar's Nest,
it's either because of the statue, which in this case maybe it is the statues, but those statues are there for a reason, and that is going to be the fact that those animals spawn there, or not spawn there, live there a little bit more often than they do in any of the surrounding areas.
Hope to your lovely vacation here in the Dragon's Mouth. And step right into your dragon on the left and enjoy. It'll be a little toasty in there, so we hope you're not wearing too many layers. And you may die. See ya! 3-0 here for the overtime. About to tick away. I wonder if Mousesports actually have the capability to hold here. I mean, they've still got a lot of NIP members, but they're all really low. And yeah, I think it's just a war of attrition. Going to go the favor of Mouse. First point here on the Beach of Serpents. I've never seen that. Oh no, the fire spit kill. He loogied him to death. Said, "Get out of my face."
That is... I can't think of any other word to say.
I'm glad you didn't say this is.
This is the story of how Mouse started clawing their way back up against NIP. The story to remember for the ages, a tale to tell your children and grandchildren. If they can do it. But 3-8 for Bees, 1-1-11, 6-5-5 there for Alex. Not necessarily the worst performances, but definitely not controlling the objective, which has been the problem. You need a little bit more pressure on Serpent Beach to make sure that goes your way. And I'm looking at Diggy Dog, who so far has felt unpressured by this Kinessa.
Ooh, baby, nice sallow spit right there. NTBs is in the problems, and look at this. I mean, there really is no one who can get there. Enderdoodle's caught on the left side. This is what Diggy Dog's been doing most of the time. 1 for 2. It's the value sale here on Serpent Beach. So we do have Serpents, but we got good deals. So, hey, that's a thing. 42% and counting for Mouse, but it looks like NIP are in the position to be able to zone him out and claim this set.
Diggy is doing something, and this is part of the reason I think Kinessa is as bad on this map as it is, because we've seen teams adapt to this. He is playing around the line of sight. Where can Kinessa see me? Where can she not? And he is hovering where she can't, making sure he's going to be perfect. Tries to stay alive, gets a double kill. Either way, stays alive, at least for
that boy's sick right now. That boy is sick. Get him out of here. He's got the flu. He's got something much worse than that. Nobody should be hitting those shots under pressure, but Diggy found a way. Alex here now trying to finish off Crunchy, but it's just so little, so late. And NTBs goes down. It looks like NIP, they're going to be the team moving into a clear second place here. And unless the maps are incredibly in the favor of Fnatic, it feels like they may have just given that up today. Boy, oh boy, I don't know. I am speaking out of conjecture. I don't have the exact results, but a 3-0 means that they have gained +2 over what was potentially a tie ball game. The MVP of the set, who do you guys think? A lot of amazing performances, but I'm sure Diggy Dog might have caught your eye on that one at the end. Some great Drogo's play from him.
Caught my eye in the game, the first game as Androxus, caught my eye in the last game as Drogo, so a lot of phenomenal plays from him. And again, looking towards that last one, especially, I'm glad we got to see him throughout the entire last engagement, because he was playing around, where can Kinessa shoot me? And because that's where Kinessa is going to be great. Take the Drogos out of the sky, but if you can't see him, you can't kill him.
Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot more wiggle room, right? You know, Kinessa's not going to take that route. Andrew Doodle's going on the left side. the entirety of, because who else, right? You have the Kinessa, so who else is going on that left side?
Yeah.
With the Ashe, just the Ashe versus
Three, four.
Cruncy and Bonker, and I mean that's not going to work. And so I think that it was essentially something I would have liked to probably see as the Talus in that one. There are a couple other options that obviously people can do. We didn't see a lot of good performances from Zen today, but Zen is a champion that on Serpent Beach specifically can do well at just drawing attention, forcing pressure onto different areas, and then surviving those tough moments where he's engaged with a high DPS champion like Drogoz. But at the end of the day, I mean, was this really the Mouse story? It seemed like NIP were just continuing their evolvement as a team.
There was a lot, I think, earlier that could have made this a Mouse story. But not in this set. This was all NIP all the time, looking at where are they in the standings, where are they in terms of Europe compared to where they've been in the past. And I think right now they've solidified themselves, not quite at the top, but I mean, if you're looking at a team that can fight Na'Vi in their state right now, I have to give it to NIP. No one else looks close.
I mean, NIP looked clearly better than Fnatic today. Obviously, some adjustments. They're going to have to see how that pans out. Guys, that's going to do it for our PPL. And Diggy Dog has made your MVP selections come true. Thanks for voting for him there on Mixer. He is going to be the guy who everyone feels did the job for NIP today. We've got the standings and the schedules coming up for this afternoon. It is the first day out of 4 in the PPL in the week before last, so we could finally see some qualification implications start to show up here. And look at this. We've got our map differentials, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. So NIP still behind Fnatic by 1 map, but Fnatic would have been 3 maps ahead, essentially a whole set ahead, had they not lost those 2. So NIP have now cut that lead into 1, and it is going to be absolutely imperative that NIP win out and Fnatic do not lose any more maps and win out as well to maintain that spot. It's going to come down to the wire this week and next week, so there's no PPL action you guys want to miss right here. Let's take a reminder moment to say that HRX is on the horizon, and it's a place that you should be. HiResExpo.com, November 16th to 18th, Gormizer. And you're going to be at that after party?
Well, I hope to be, because it is probably one of the best places to go to afterwards. It is, again, incredibly stressful for a lot of these players during this time for the World Championship. You want to see them relaxed? Meet them at the after party. Everyone is going to be just having a good time.
Do you want to see Gormizer relaxed and dancing?
Well, then just come to the office.
Yeah, you don't have to wait till the after party.
Watch Esports Weeklies.
Don't come to the office, but you can, obviously see us there. However, we have a great little post-game show called Gather Round. If you're just new and joining us for today's broadcast, is where we kind of sit down, loosen our ties, open up the collars, and just talk a little bit about what we saw today in a more relaxed setting. And that's coming up in just a moment, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the post-game Gather Round. My name is Gormizer. We're going to be going over today's PPL games. Mouse had their doubleheader against Fnatic and NIP, and surprisingly enough, looked pretty strong, at least in one set. But joining me on the round table before we get too deep into it is Rain Day and Pretty Hair. Pretty much the same as the desk, except relaxed.
That's how relaxed we are.
I love that song, man. Shout outs to Matt for choosing the song.
I think the best way to start it, even though we have some stuff to talk about, is just the standings. So we have them to go ahead and look at, which I think is the most important thing.
The updated standings.
For today, the updated
which is
ones.
NIP.
Yeah.
So I think this is a weird way of looking at it, but what I would assume is they're a 1 map ahead of Fnatic. Although typically what you would see in some other, like if you're familiar with other leagues, is it would be based on points behind the leader. So right now you're just seeing it a little differently. But they are 1 map ahead of Fnatic, so that is 4-3 in their favor.
The total, I think, between wins and losses, and it is coming down, I think, actually to the fact that when NIP faced Fnatic, the first time it was a 3-1, and then it was a 3-0.
That's crazy, man.
And so, I mean, it comes down to some of the closest sets that you could have.
It's if game differential ends up being tied as well, it goes to previous split overall record, which I think would then be in favor of Fnatic.
Yes.
So NIP have got to stay ahead on differential.
Yep, they do have to stay ahead. But there's no problem, man. They just have to match. They just have to match.
And they're going up against, I think, VP later this week. They have to play against Na'Vi one more time. if they can get at least a single map off Na'Vi, then I think
that
that
should
will
guarantee it,
definitely
right?
guarantee them a win.
VP took a
or at
map
least a
off
second.
Fnatic last time they played as well, so it could continue to slide the other way.
I mean, let's think about this. Let's think of the craziness, right? Because if
do it.
Na'Vi, did Na'Vi play NIP and Fnatic one more time?
They
They play them both once, right? I feel like.
I
Navi
think
plays
Navi
NIP,
plays
yeah,
NIP
once
and
more
Fnatic next week.
next Tuesday.
And do they play Fnatic this week? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they play Fnatic
so,
this week.
let's go into the rabbit hole of Na'Vi actually lose to Fnatic. So, that drops them down to a 9 differential, right?
Yeah.
Fnatic go up to 6 or something. They go there. Now, if NIP also beat Na'Vi, which obviously hasn't happened, but I mean, talk about the end of the season, that drops them down to a 6.
You're getting serious corkboard
NIP
vibes
go
right
from
now.
4 to 7, and this is 3-0s. We're just assuming 3-0s. Any other version of
Yeah.
that doesn't really matter, but that would put them all with 2 losses and basically have a 3-way differential tie that would go to,
That's
at that
spicy.
point, NIP. If Fnatic didn't do anything exceptional, they say they all 3-0 basically. Very interesting stuff.
Spicy indeed.
It's technically not over. It's really, really not over.
There's so much that could change. And I feel like we're starting to see that. I mean, even just today, Mouse, at least in set 1, they're able to take Fnatic to game 5, which is, again, you can either look at it as Mouse playing well, Fnatic playing poorly. I think a lot of it does come down to like the drafts. I think the drafts for Fnatic in some of those games were, I can't think of a better word to use than abysmal. They were just not good. They,
Yeah.
Like you give over, there was one game that
Weird.
was like
Weird.
Makoa, Anara, Furia, Drogos, and then some other play, like on the other side. And you're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah, that was pretty nutty for sure. And if you look historically, I mean, VP, if Mouse is taking Fnatic to game 5s, then historically that's going to tell us that VP is going to beat Fnatic in their final matchup unless Fnatic step it up. I think they're already taking games. They're likely to take more maps, if not a full game 5, if not even the set. I mean, if they take the set, it's pretty much over. NIP are going to grab
Who do they
that
have?
second place.
Who do they have right here? Okay, so NIP. So NIP VP is really going to tell the difference too, because you know, let's just assume Na'Vi really does keep the the gas on and basically just 3-0s them. Then VP is going to be the determining factor, how well they do against that one. And you're right. I mean, Fnatic looks so much more susceptible to getting surprised by that than NIP have shown today.
And one of the other things we ended up seeing, and this actually goes really well for that last set, was the fact that Bonker has gone from not necessarily having like bad performances, but like okay performances, to finally looking like a star again. Essentially being up at the top, getting a lot of damage, a lot of kills, and making that performance for NIP.
Yeah, Bonker's been, one of the more consistent players, I think, performance-wise for a long time. That's why all those NIP roster changes, Bonker coming in as a sub, maintaining, getting his spot. I mean, when you get a team and when you get guys world championships, they don't forget and they remember that your potential is there, but also just that your consistency. And he's maintained himself, maintained a spot in a very, very widely shifting PPL and only gotten better. And I think NIP is better for it.
Feels like he just fits better now. Like they used to, I don't know. It was kind of just like a sluggish, just every time I watched NIP play when they were doing a ton of, 3 tanks and stuff like that, it just was, it looks so meh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was on Inaras all the time.
Yeah, it was just not Bonker's cup of tea. And it's awesome to see him get back to stuff that he can just hard carry the game on.
So if we're living in, I guess, like if we just look at the standings as they were right now, and you have Na'Vi and NIP at the top, those top 2 spots are guaranteed a trip to HRX. They get a bye. They don't have to go through the placement the way that the other teams will.
Yeah.
Do you think right now, especially with the way things have been changing up, Fnatic historically not looking that great on LAN, when you look at 3rd through 5th in Europe, do you think that Mouse and Virtus.pro have the potential for like upsets in Europe, not just against, NIP, but against Fnatic and potentially even knocking them out of LANs?
I don't think Fnatic doesn't make it to DreamHack.
Right.
Even if they have to go through the placement rounds, I think Fnatic will still curb stomp most of those
That
teams.
roster's still pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine if they have to go. And I honestly, at this point, I think they will have to go through the placement rounds. I don't see NIP slipping up and dropping that
That's
differential
the
again,
problem.
man.
Like, if they had just maintained, man, like, even just kept it tied, right? Because then it would have gone to the last split, and they would have actually been okay to just tie and win.
But now they have to come back from a deficit, and Unbe really needed that week, this week and next week, to just get integrated again. He said he was rusty. He showed he was a little rusty. The entire team of Fnatic looked a little rusty with the comms and the way they were playing and drafting. And so it really is this is the worst thing that could have happened for them in terms of like making their road a lot harder. But I agree with Nick. I think the talent on Fnatic is it's just too much. Unstoppable,
Is this
essentially,
what they needed,
to be able
though?
to get there.
You know?
We've been saying it from the beginning. I think this is what they needed. You know, there's no
Someone-
way to...
I hope they
whoop
do
'em.
have to go through placements.
Yeah.
Just to see what happens. Just to see a hungry Fnatic again, I think.
Do you think that there is any world? I mean, you had said you pretty much guarantee, like you expect to see Fnatic at DreamHack. Is there a world that we live in where Fnatic doesn't make it there and Fnatic gets knocked out by even a PGS team? Like,
You know,
have they fallen that hard?
listen,
How
the way
hard have they tripped
Simpson,
up?
the way Underrated are playing, I wouldn't be surprised.
It would have to be
Mousesports,
turbo tilt, dude.
Throw Simsy, Nino second, Hayes against, Mousesports right now, and I think that'd be a pretty good matchup. So the way that they took Fnatic to 5, I think that there's some firepower on the side of some of these PGS European teams. Those are the teams I'm actually pretty scared about for that qualifying phase.
So I think I have one more question really pertaining to today. And
Okay.
it's actually, I mentioned it in one of the sets. I can't remember which one, but I had said at one point that I think Drogoz would be picked up whether he had his ult or not. I think his ult is like icing on the cake
Dude,
that makes him
probably.
really good because his damage is just ridiculous.
The only champion with no ult.
Andrew Doodle looked insane on him. Do you think Drogoz at this point is becoming like a must ban against a lot of these players like Diggy Dog, like Andrew Doodle that are just so great at him?
He's so safe, man. I think when you were watching that game 1 of Fnatic
Marsh.
Mouse,
Yep.
the way that Fish was able to just do stupid amounts of damage from distance behind line of sights, there's just no one else that can do that. There is no replacing that type of mechanic in the game.
I think that the biggest thing I see players struggle with, and I see it with Andrew Doodle, I see it with Shadows, I see it with, sometimes I'll see it with Fishekos. I mean, honestly, when they get their Drogos and they get their Willow 2 games in a row, kill it, and then game 3, Drogo's banned, and then they're like on a Cassie or like a Talus, and it looks like or a Zen. I mean, that was 2 games today. You're like, where did he go? And that is my biggest problem. I think that if they find themselves not able to switch and just so susceptible to a Drogoz ban, that is why people should ban Drogos against them. They have to answer that question pretty soon. Where's my go-to, man? Where's my once Drogos is banned kind of pick that I could still carry this game with for us?
Dredge.
When
He
it
will
finally
be
comes
available.
through.
He will be
And the
available.
placements, right? I
should
don't
be.
think he
Think
will
so,
come
yeah.
through for the PPL.
Should be available in the placements.
What was
yeah.
last Wednesday? Last Wednesday was September 26th. And what is it, like 3 weeks after the patch they're available? 2 weeks to ranked and then 3 for
I
competitive?
mean, we don't start
Usually.
playing until November, so it's all of October we got.
It's gotta
before.
be, yeah.
So he's 100%
Yeah,
available.
that's
100%.
being told by production that he will be available for that land. So once
3
lane
weeks
comes
is less
around,
than 4 weeks. My
he's gonna
math
be
is
making
sound.
a big difference. Yeah, your math is sound. But so we live in a world where Fnatic goes 5 games with Mouse. NIP have taken number 2 from Fnatic. Navi's number 1. Final thoughts for today and just going into the rest of the week, the rest of the PPL.
What a time for this to happen, man. Week 4, the fall split right before Worlds. Stuff's just starting to blow up. I mean, that's kind of what you hope for, I guess.
Definitely. This is what makes Paladins exciting. You work all year for this so we can be wrong on the desk about Mousesports and they can take Fnatic to 5 so NIP can usurp it. Like, that's what the season's about. So these moments matter and are exciting for the viewers and for us as well.
I thought of one more question. I feel bad about it because I keep calling it for one. The last
This was
one.
the
debating,
last
dude.
question.
This one's a hot take, and I want it from both of you. Would this have gone 5 games if Thiel was still there?
Oh,
I don't think so.
Probably
and the
not.
reason why is because I think they would have stuck to what they were more comfortable. I think with adding Unbe made them feel like they needed to do something different in the draft. And what they were doing was pretty silly in a couple of those games. I think if they lost one game and then got scared and went back to like what was working for them in the past, they would have been able to kind of like coast through the mid game there.
Fnatic do not give a single dang, because we're team rated here, about winning online. they have to win at land. This was a move that was predicated on winning later, not now. So they will take this loss, they will take this L, and they will hopefully get the W at the end of the day in November when they're holding the trophy. That's what this move was about. They definitely expect that if Theo was there, it'd be easier to just not get, go 5 maps with Mouse, but that's not the goal. They'll lose to Mouse if it means that they can go through the qualifiers, get to HRX, and win on that stage.
Well, I think today alone has kind of proven how strong the PPL is, and a lot of these teams aren't even Mouse being able to come in and find some really crucial wins. But with the way things are going, you can always tune in. I think tomorrow at 11 for the PGS, tomorrow at 3 for the PPL. If you go to live.skillshot.com, there will be a schedule there, and I believe we have a countdown timer to the next broadcast every single time. I absolutely recommend going to the website and checking it out. A lot of work goes into that one. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow again at 11 and 3 for the PGS and PPL respectively. But until then, we'll talk to you next time.